the NFTs, the commerce built into it. It's going to be much more than just a VR tour. So, folks, my recommendation to you will be that whenever you hear about metaverses, don't overwhelm yourself. Just think that it is still going to be a 3D world. It will definitely look much better than physical world because it has to do with CG and having multiple tools in it, like the way you've seen the Facebook New Horizon video by Mark, wherein he went ahead and he shared his keyboard on the VR headset and so on and so forth. So this is an ever evolving stage, and I think one has to always understand that collaboration in metaverse is what makes metaverse useful and eventually commerce.
Welcome to the Blue Circle, an exclusive keynote address for the Blue Circle members. It's such a big privilege and pleasure to connect with everyone and our distinguished keynote speaker, who is handpicked because of the think input and the rich experience he brings in. Thank you also to our distinguished audience for joining us today, most of whom are CEO, CXOs, and senior leaders. Many of them are our members and are repeat visitors to our webinars. This is very encouraging and motivates us to provide even higher levels of dialogue through the online mode as well. Now, for those of you who are new with us today, Blue Circle is the world's first sector-specific networking app for business leaders that's built in India. We currently focus on 20 sector communities such as e-mobility, technology, energy, real estate, and many more. We also present socioeconomic insights, which ultimately determine the evolving complexion of the market. Along with our weekly webinar series and our digital publication, you will be happy to know that we have recently launched the first version of the Blue Circle app for leaders. Somewhat like the sector-specific LinkedIn for senior leaders, a space to have meaningful conversations, connect with over 15,000 plus like-minded leaders from India and across the globe, house high-quality curated content, and access business opportunities across these sectors. Those leaders among you who are interested, please join us. I will share the link in the app in the chat section, and will soon be sending out invitations to our new guests post today's discussion. Now, without further ado, I'm pleased to introduce today's keynote speaker and Blue Circle member, Mr. Rrahul Sethi. He's a partner and chief metaverse officer at Web by 3. In the last 22 years, as a professional and entrepreneur, Rrahul has built companies, sold companies, invested in people, and learned his way up. He has spent a reasonable time building business in South Africa, the United States, and India. Rrahul has over 2 decades of experience in enterprise tech domain. An entrepreneur for the past 17 years, he has built 2 tech companies and has successfully executed 100% sum sale of procure to pay company in 2018. And now he's building Web by 3, which is a Web3 advisory company. And for today's topic, Mr. Sethi will be discussing Metaverse Training, an upcoming technology superpower. And I request Mr. Sethi to please begin the session. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Much appreciated the community, Gautam, everyone. Thank you so much for having me here. And I hope that my my camera is you can see me as well as also see my screen. Gautam, am I right? Everything all set?
All
is
set.
my voice okay?
Perfect.
Great. So keeping in mind I've got limited minutes, and the topic I generally speak about is so diverse. So what I've done today is I'm going to take and divide the session into 2. One, I will do a little bit in terms of background of what metaverse and how metaverses have come to life, because I think a lot of people are a little taken away when it comes to metaverse as a term. So we'll try to simplify that. Okay. The other thing we'll do is I will take you through a real example of an experience at the event that we had most recently on the 29th. I will cover that part, and including, of course, I will take you through one of my other initiatives, art gallery, that we're working on. And third part, of course, it is going to be taking questions and answers. I know I have a couple of questions already with me, so Gautam, you can help me out with questions as and when they come. Happy to answer and pick them up. So quickly, future future of metaverse. That's the first thing. Well, metaverse is here. Metaverse was always there. It's just the name. It's just the packaging that I think has changed. We've been doing virtual reality based trainings for plenty of years, and today this virtual training has just upped the ante, which has gone many levels up because of the collaboration of in terms of the collaboration in the tech. Because of tech, excuse me, has made it possible to be now called a metaverse. So future of training. When we talk about okay, about me already covered, but two more things, very quickly. I've been doing AR, VR, and MR for about 2.5 years. So definitely, I have learned my way up in this trade, and it's a very ever evolving trade, and hence one has to be always on top of it to learn more. And the learning in this particular trade will never stop. The second part is that I have been doing events on the metaverse for some of the media houses here in India, and of course also doing projects with clients on building their metaverses for their businesses. And Web 3.0 comes naturally to the metaverse. However, Web 3.0 really it does not have much of metaverse in it because it's most to do with commerce and decentralized exchanges and things like that. So next one coming to our topic is metaverse. What is metaverse? So clearly everyone should know that we live in a particular in a physical world, and there is always an opportunity for us to creating the 3D digital twin of where we live. I think we've been doing it for a long time. When we make our when we go buy apartments and when we go buy property, we go to our dealers place, and we see the digital twin of hardware of how that whole apartment complex will look like. And similarly, they also send out a lot of these links on a 3D where you can actually do click, and you can walk into your apartment of how it will look like on a digital LED screen. The one that metaverses are doing in it is that they're creating and they're building collaboration in it, because whatever we have done in the past has been always very static, and because it was very static, so we could not do much. We were generally all about simply clicking and going and looking at it. Now with the interaction, the avatars, the NFTs, the commerce built into it, it's going to be much more than just a VR tour. So folks, my recommendation to you will be that whenever you hear about metaverses, don't overwhelm yourself. Just think that it is still going to be a 3D world. It will definitely look much better than physical world because it has to do with CG and having multiple tools in it, like the way you've seen the the Facebook New Horizon video by Mark, wherein he went ahead and he shared his keyboard on the VR headset and so on and so forth. So this is an ever evolving stage, and I think one has to always understand that collaboration in metaverse is what makes metaverse useful and eventually commerce. Important to understand the basics of it, right? So first of all, let's start with the basics of it, right? We always had augmented reality being used by brands as more tactical weapon, and augmented reality works on a phone camera. So any 3D model, you could pick it up and simply show it on a phone, iPhone or Android camera, and you're able to kind of interact with the content, maybe run some animations on it, and so on and so forth. With the rise of content which was available in the 3D, companies wanted to make sure that content is used in a more structured way, and hence virtual reality came into play. Virtual reality is a fully modeled 3D scenario, and since virtual reality needs a Oculus or any other HTC, Lenovo sort of devices. There are a number of other non-branded devices of virtual reality available. The content, however, remained to be very static. A new entrant in this domain about maybe 5 years back was mixed reality. And mixed reality, today the best example of mixed reality can be seen on Microsoft's HoloLens. However, most recently, most recent news is that Geo with the Tesseract will be coming up with an AR glass or with a little sort of competence or little content, disposition in terms of MR also. So we have therefore been through augmented, virtual, and mixed reality, and now we are going ahead, in terms of how we want to use our content. So it is evolved. So which, if somebody or anyone thinks that metaverse is new, well, the metaverse is not new. It is just an ever evolving technology that has now come to a parking, somewhere it has been parked to be called a metaverse. But let me tell you, metaverse primarily is not going to stay where it is. I think it's just probably go way ahead. The training in metaverse is our, today's our conversation. So in this, let's look at a couple of benefits of why we want to use metaverses in training. One of the things is that when we go to university, right, and we go to our class physically, we relate to it. We resonate to our college. I think most of you guys who've been to your colleges, if you now go, feel very nostalgic. One of my friends in my school days, in fact, he lives in London. He went to our school in Ambala, and he was a topper in 10th. And I still remember a few months back when he sent out to me we still have a WhatsApp group of all our friends of class 10. So he sent out on the class 10 the photo of where his name is. And when Amol sent out that link to me, one of the things what I felt was, hey, you know what? It's a nice place, I want to go visit. And imagine, what if I create a digital twin of the same school, the same college, and people can go and use a free will navigation to go wherever they want to go just by walking into that particular 3D environment. So I think universities and look at corporates, right? So corporates have a huge opportunity because when we go do any kind of trainings, we do it on a Zoom. Very boring. People don't start their camera. People listen to it. Sometimes, they will just mute it and they will go do their work. There is no interaction built in it. There's going to be a trainer who will just talk about it. And gamification really doesn't work on Zoom or any 2D format. So what is happening is, when you create a digital twin of your organization, and say your new trainees, your new candidates who are coming for either a recruitment, or your new employees are coming in as part of their onboarding, they have to be trained on a certain thing. They are able to resonate to the brand. They know, yes, I'm joining a company X, office looks like this. There are training rooms, and then he can walk around. And not only that, he can even walk around to other places in your office. He might as well want to see, okay, how does the cafeteria looks like? How does the other places, maybe some kind of recreational area, how it looks like. So people will be able to walk around. More than I think just an experience. The gamification on 3D has an extreme value creation, because the interpretability of the content, is a major issue when you're reading it in a 2D. One of the other things in augmented reality, I want to go back very quickly and just give you one more idea in terms of how this technology, immersive experience, can help organizations and, of course, people who are interested. Is, well, I have a book, but the book has got 2D content. I can easily go and scan that book with my camera phone or some kind of a QR code or an app, and I can bring that 2D content onto a 3D. So the opportunities in learning in the metaverse is huge. It's all about just sitting down with peace of mind. You got to think, use your common sense, but yeah, you got to understand the technology. You got to understand the scope of technology. You got to understand what's possible, what's not possible. I think that's where people like me, other people like me, all of us, we come in, because we've just sort of, I think, worked with so many clients now that we kind of understand, what is it will work, because we explored hundreds and hundreds of ideas. And so we've come to a conclusion, fine, out of the 100 ideas, maybe the 40 will work, the other 60 looks like a little long term, and so on and so forth. So huge opportunity, huge learning opportunity in the metaverse. Coming to what and where, like I said, for corporates, I think the technical sales skill set, one of my most recent interaction with a CIO was, hey, Rahul, I want to do a R&R for my sales team, and sure, because he's got certain games in 2D that have been designed, and what they do is, it's interesting because a very large 75, 80-year-old manufacturing company, very large name in the industry, a lot of legacy, and what they say is that, hey, you know what, when we give our dealers and distributors and sales teams, when we give them certain games to play so that they're able to know more about our product, those are still very 2D in nature, because those are wizards. You see what I mean, right? I don't think so. The wizards are going to play a big role. Imagine I go into a metaverse, scene. I'm able to go in. I click on a particular, model. The model is the 3D model. Now I can tilt the model. I can click on it, play some animations in it. I have a voiceover. It's amazing because then I am the one who is hearing. I'm the one who is doing it by my own free will. Whatever I want to do in that 1,000, 2,000, 10,000 square feet area, I do it with my own will. Safety training is a huge opportunity, because what's happening here is that safety training people forget. See, I think people, I could say people forget, but I think more than people forget, aren't we ignorant, about safety and security? Chalta hai attitude, a typical attitude chalta hai. So a guy will go in, won't wear a helmet, forgets helmet, ignorance, or ignored it or something like that. Now, what you're doing is you're essentially giving the same scenario to an individual on a browser, on a mobile phone, and you know what? One of the myths I would really want, because I've just come so fast here, because I kind of want to make sure that I finish my session on time. But what I see is that one of the myths is that, hey, metaverses and 3D experiences only work on a VR headset. You see, I want to clear to you. It is not about doing it on a VR headset. Well, metaverses are supported on a laptop, on an HP laptop, Mac laptop. In fact, I will take you through the Mac laptop right now, the experience. I'm going to take you through mobile phones and, of course, the AR glasses. However, AR glasses are a little bit, forward-looking. We will right now stick to VR headset, computers, and laptop and mobile. Now, of course, the experience of virtual reality when you wear a headset is definitely very immersive, because it's a 3D and it's a closed closet kind of thing. So, of course, it's definitely different. But on a computer and mobile also is not that bad. Safety training, very important thing. Take a person into a 3D industrial digital twin. Let the person go, click on certain doors. Before certain doors, has to click on a couple of other 1, 2, 3 places. Only when he clicks on 1, 2, 3 places, then only the door opens. So although he is on a free will, I think from a user's perspective, what I'm thinking is that even from a disaster management point of view, well, if there's a fire in the building, what do? The fire in the building, let the person go and find his own way. Please, let's stop telling him, hey, when there's a fire in the building, go straight, take the second right, take the third left, and then there's a door, then go downstairs and all that. No, let the person go himself in a metaverse, go find his own place. And we can track the time he's taking to do it, and where should he go right, where is he going right or wrong. We can have a couple of other, inferences created in the system in a way graphically we can make it easier for him to learn and things like that. Customer service training, very important, very good. Sales enablement, I think, is one of the best case scenario. Why I say that? Sales enablement and recruitment. These are two I kind of, engagement, not recruitment really. These two areas, I see them to be very important areas, because here, the most recent example was, hey, when you hire people in retail, you want them to learn on the floor, kaise chalta hai, how does the shop works. And the shop floor is definitely a very dynamic place, because you're getting people from all across the, heritage, and different types of people coming from different parts of India, and so on and so forth. So you got to be very careful on how you treat them and where the stuff is, and you got to know exactly. When I go to a retail store, I say, hey, I want Gillette, this safety, blah blah blah. The guy doesn't have to go think about it. He says, boss, go straight, take right, and that's where it is. So make a digital twin of it. Let people come onto it. They don't have to go to physical stores to learn. I think those stores will be there, and with the free will navigation, once again, they can go themselves to learn where the stuff is. Because ek bar when you set up a chemist shop, for example, I think the best one is chemist. When you go to a chemist shop, you say, boss, I want Disprin, The guy doesn't take 2 years to find out discipline. He knows exactly discipline kahan par hai. He'll say, boss, this guy, go get the discipline, give it to him. So I think if you give them a free will for them to go find out by themselves, the learning is way more, immersive in nature. And of course, leadership development as well is being taught on the metaverses now. Coming to my second last slide, and I've got another 2 minutes. After that, I want to also take you through the metaverse experience, here as well. There's huge advantages for the L&D. One of them is, of course, you're supporting the future leadership development. That's one. Other one, of course, is driving the KPIs, because today the KPIs that you've got are very, very metric driven, Excel driven. What I'm talking of, the KPIs are very experiential driven. There's no point in me going and having a person secure 70%. I think it's, for me, important is for the person to learn 70%. These are very two different metrics, and I believe that learning matrix must be based on the real learning of the person, and that is always supported by a self-interest and the self-learning skill set of the individual. We can address the hybrid workplace issues here. Very simple, because I don't have to go make a new retail store for somebody to get trained. I don't have to go build a new building or call 3,000 people onto my building in a year. So 3,000 people will learn inside my building. I think I can have them learn 3,000 people 24/7 in a metaverse digital twin of my own building wherever in the world. Those are very, very important things. And of course, it really helps a lot when you are hiring a lot of people, or when you're hiring new onboardings are coming up and things like that. So these are two extremely important matrices for, or benefits for, the organizations of future, this thing. So now I did make a couple of, examples on the YouTube. However, I want to take you through the space itself. So we made a sample here that I want to show you is art gallery. Gautam, can we move on to the art gallery now? Since we've got just 9 minutes left, 10 minutes left.
Surely.
Okay, great. Okay. So folks, this is the art gallery that we most recently made. I am on the computer, and you can see how art gallery looks like. And then this is my avatar, by the way, right? So generally I'm in shots most of the times, by the way. So you can also log into this. And in fact, we could do this session even on the metaverses going forward. Like the scene, right? See, I can come all the way this side. Won't fall off this particular place. I think there's still being work done on these areas where if the edges, once the edges comes, the avatar actually cannot go ahead and fall off this place and drown or something. But yeah, but these all things are being made. So this is the entry of the sample art gallery, and then let me go in. Yeah, okay, see, so other people can come join as well. These are a couple of nice painting arts. We're building an art gallery which has got also NFTs in it. It's a huge 60,000 square feet museum come art gallery. So we're putting together a whole infrastructure for that. And this is just one small module, to address a couple of needs of the client. And yeah, so this sculpture thing we just put in last week, just to kind of see what kind of graphics, graphic value, the graphic clarity that comes. So yeah, so these are all 3D assets. You see, that's the beauty of the metaverse. So this is 360 degree. I'm using my mouse cursor, and now I can come close to this particular scenery. See it? I can even make it a big size. Yeah. So experience this big size, right? Now I press the escape button or something, and then I go back. Yeah. Well, by the way, these guys. See, what I think also can be done is, yeah, so let me just bring this avatar here a little bit. You can do a number of gestures, on the avatar. Okay, yeah. So wave, yeah. You can even dance, be happy, rock and rolling. Okay. So I can do a number of things with my avatar, right? So I can wave, I can clap, and I can be happy, I can dance, and so many things I can do, right? Okay. Coming out of this particular. So yeah, this is one experience. The other one is a most recent one that I would like to show it to you. There are multiple tools where we can do it. Okay. Now what I'm showing you is the real example of real metaverse event that I did on the 29th of April at the Leela Chanakyapuri. This is the Chanakyapuri's digital twin of the Leela Ballroom in Delhi. And this is the real ballroom. We created this digital twin, and in fact, this particular the particular event was also being streamlined on the metaverse. And there is a little small video of 2 minutes. I'll just play this video. I hope that you guys can hear it. This is only 2 minutes of video. Huh?
So as we move ahead from here, how are we going to collaborate? And there are going to be many ways by which we will collaborate. So collaboration in business, collaboration in when we design a product, collaboration is when we do this kind of conferences, collaboration is when we want to just talk to our loved ones. And while we want to do all of that, how about doing that in the place of your choice? So what we've done here today is that we've created an experience which is almost as likely as good as we could from the stage side on this metaverse. And all these people here are some of those people from our network, some of the people whom have been invited by the Mint team. So creating those digital twins of places is what's happening today. Exhibitors want to go to certain places of exhibitions which are famous. Conferences have to happen in places which are very popular. And while, of course, people physically can go, there is also an opportunity, like I said, for people who cannot go physically, would be visiting that place of interest through a virtual system. So one of the things that that is mostly and quite often asked to me is the metaverse only available on these headsets called Oculus? This is a question that many people ask. The answer is no. Metaverse is an experience that works on computer, mobile, a headset, and even the HoloLens, which is mixed reality. We'll talk about mixed reality shortly. So let's start with the true applicability of from a today's context point of view. When they use it at any other event that they do, can you please go to it?
Yeah. So this is a very interesting scene. So I am on the stage. I've got these avatars, which is coming because there is a huge LED behind me, and the guy you see here, the black color Oculus guy, he's also in the ballroom physically, and he's actually logged in as this guy, the one in the green, from his Oculus. And then one of the guys in the conference actually said, "Hey, I want to also be there." Sure, absolutely, please come. And this is how we built a whole experience of how metaverses will work and are working in this particular industry. Yeah. So with that,
they're going to create a guardian.
With that, I want to thank every one of you. I am just over 2 minutes in this particular session. I'm happy to take any of your questions. Gautam, over to you.
And thank you, Mr. Sethi. I think it's very interesting to look at and hear you. So what I'll do is I'll just ask you the question which have already come beforehand. One question is from Deva Malya Day. He's asking how metaverse can be gainfully used in service industry to increase traffic, engagement, sales.
For the service industry, for increasing their sales. Okay.
Correct.
Well, the service industry, look, the service industry works on showcasing the experience of what we have done for our clients. I think we both are in services industry. We are showcasing what best we've done. So when you want to show something better, show it on the new age 3D setup. And the more I think you show it on a 3D setup, more immersive in nature, you are able to demonstrate your product and or services, what they were selling, in a meaningful format, in a quicker format, so that people are able to experience it virtually or whatever, right? Best way. Automatically brings business. So metaverses have a huge applicability in the service industry for sure.
Thank you. Thank you. Just another question I'll ask you.
Mhm.
While you've already covered what is metaverse and kind of what are its applications,
Mhm.
there's another question which has come from the same person: is what is the future potential of metaverse? Where do you see metaverse actually reaching its heights, or at the current scenario, I would say?
Metaverse. So metaverse is when you say, uh, I'm just thinking. Can we say that metaverse is something which is new? That's what I was saying. See, metaverse is not new. Okay, we've been doing virtual reality 3D content for a long time. There is no way. There is no way that we can do better experiences in VR than we can do it on a 2D. There's no second thought about it. Uh, and perhaps with the collaboration, all we are going to now see going forward is that when I learn something, I can have my mentor or my trainer on my left. When I get trained on something, I can have even 5 people get trained on the same 3D model in the metaverse. You know, so the applicability and the future of metaverse is not something which is future; it is present. I will really request Dave to explore more and think how he wants to fit his business and his service line into the metaverse context. And if he is able to excel, of course he is the first view of it. So please don't worry about the applicability of this technology and this experience. I think it's here to stay for a long time.
Thank you. Awesome. Just another question which has come in the Q&A section.
Yeah.
Is it VR with avatar in it which we can control?
Yeah. Say again, Gautam. I'm sorry.
He's asking, is it VR with avatar in which we can control?
Is it? Yeah, absolutely. No, I'm just thinking that first of all, VR is an experience that is very static in nature. It's called a guided tour. VRs are generally made as guided tour. For example, you've done roller coaster in a VR. Those are very guided. You simply sit down, the movie plays, and then there is a little haptic movement on something, and you think, oh my god, I'm falling. Actually, it's an experience creation, right? VR, when unguided, are also programmed because they are only point to point navigation. So those are called walkthroughs. So till this is virtual reality. Okay. Now, what has happened is the same 3D digital asset that we used to port in a virtual reality headset and virtual reality tech stack. Now we pick it up, the same digital asset, which is 3D asset, we go place them into metaverses platform. And we place them on the metaverses platform, we get the avatars in it. And since avatars are an intrinsic property, IP of that metaverse platform, we get multiple types of avatars. And the platform offers us a free will movement, which means if you go and create MG Road of Bangalore in some decentralized land, for example, then Rrahul comes into the MG Road, he can walk or go wherever Rrahul wants to go. There is no need for any programmer to go program and create a way, for him, So same asset, we used to do it on a VR headset. Now we are going to have the same digital asset. We will put it on the metaverses, and we will have a free will navigation people can use, and people can go what they want to do in it.
Awesome. One last question I'll address before I know we already overshot our time, but just one last question.
Yes,
He's
please.
asking, how and where do we start our career on Metaverse? What are the products you should look into? This is from the context of 10 years of experience, software resource.
Okay, good. Thank you. Last line made my life easy. Thank you, Adam. Okay, so yeah, well, if you're a software developer, I'm afraid I'm afraid you will have to go back and kind of think about your creative instinct, because I think Metaverse from a tech perspective, you could work with a couple of companies who are trying to build the Metaverse. Most of them are very startup level, and they're building their own Metaverses. So they will need some folks who will know scripting, C Sharp, Java, some some of these very embedded sort of tech skills, server side sort of skills. And however, if you think of becoming a metaverse professional, then you got to think more in terms of only two areas. One is scripting and one is experience. So guys who have got experience side, experience in the sense they have got creative experience with them. Okay, those guys have a little larger role to play, and folks who are having just a tech experience, I think they will most likely only work with the product companies and not with the experience or services companies.
Understood. Understood. Thank you. Thank you so much for your time, Mr. Sethi. Such an insightful, engaging session, and a privilege to hear you. And I'm sure our guests and I have been hooked on till the end, and I've taken home several nuggets.
My
And
pleasure. Gautam.
thank you all. And thank you to the leaders in the audience for joining us as well, and for staying to the end, and for always asking excellent questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.